Hi, this is Dee at Aloha, Astro. We're looking at a full moon in Capricorn today. It is June 21st, 2024, and that full moon is occurring in the cardinal earth sign of Capricorn at 9:08 p.m. Eastern Time at 1 degree 7 minutes. Let's take a look at the forecast for the energy of this full moon, which you'll feel for about 2 weeks until we get to the new moon. Full moon in Capricorn, Friday, June 21st, requires you to delve deeply into your feelings surrounding material and spiritual sacrifice and success, which will involve looking at where you came from and where you hope to go, as you attempt to balance the patterns of the past with the progress and change of the future. While the full moon in a cardinal earth sign associated with the 10th house of career, mastery, and reputation opposes the Sun, Mercury, and Venus in the cardinal water sign of Cancer, belonging to the 4th house of home, family, and psychological foundations, funneling the tension of the opposition through a T-square aspect pattern directed by Neptune in Pisces, a planet of inspiration, forgiveness, dreams, and healing, as well as illusion, deception, disappointment, loss, and sacrifice. Mars in Taurus, trine to the Moon and sextile to the Cancer planets, as well as Saturn in Pisces, trine to Mercury, and sextile to Uranus in Taurus, are delivering a reality check necessitating a decision and committed action, which will change your perceptions, beliefs, or fortune. You can only carry so much of the past, materially, emotionally, mentally, or spiritually, with you as you move forward. Pluto retrograde in Aquarius interacting favorably with Uranus, Jupiter, and Neptune, but in tension with Chiron in Aries and Mars in Taurus, stresses the importance of aligning yourself with the thoughts, things, and people supporting positive change and growth, rather than depleting your energy, controlling, or undermining you. You must also commit to doing your part or contributing what you can toward a successful outcome for all, because this lunation holds no tolerance for the lazy, needy, or greedy. So let's take a look at what's going on. And there we've got the moon, early degree of Capricorn, the majority of the day up until about dinner time. I think it's around 6 o'clock when it changes from Sagittarius to Capricorn, is going to be moving through a mutable fire sign. But we were already feeling the weight of that Capricorn incoming energy, I believe, yesterday, with these feelings of obligation or whatever we know we need to be serious about was at the edge of our consciousness as that moon was getting fuller and emotional intensity increases, which it always does at the full moon. And now, by the time you enter the evening, we're going to be fully immersed in that Capricorn energy. The Cancer energy that we have going on, these are all clustered rather tightly together, and they are forming that T-square here with the moon, the opposition to the moon, and there's Neptune in its final degree of Pisces. The feeling of something that must be taken care of that maybe has been lingering for a while, or is it related to the past? And indeed it might be, because we have this other aspect pattern going on here with Pluto. Pluto is a prominent player right now, especially as it holds a retrograde position and is going to be going back into Capricorn for a brief time this fall and is moving closer to that Capricorn energy. The transformation that Pluto promises is being held in check or delayed, and there may be resistance or fear involved with that because of the square that Pluto is making to Mars in Taurus, and this might be felt physically in your body or showing up in your bank account, fear of not being enough, not having enough, low energy, stamina lacking, courage lacking, and a strong desire as well to protect and preserve what you already have. Usually, Aries energy is a call to action because it rules the first house of self. Mars is its planetary ruler. We have the North Node moving through Aries as well as Chiron in Aries. And deep down, I think we're all realizing that there are things that are our responsibility right now, particularly while Chiron is making a trine to the moon, that we have to step up and take care of, or we have to be the one who masters ourselves or goes and gets the help that we need, decides to take an action because the moon is making that trine to Mars. And then Mars in turn is sextile to the Cancer planets. Cancer is always very concerned with symbiosis and nurturing. Needs are very important. We want sustenance. We want to feel comfortable. We want to feel that we have enough or we are enough right now. And the supportive aspects are saying that is entirely possible. However, there's conflict and tension in here that does require you either get over resistance or fear or negative stuff that you're clinging to, or you take a look at where you've been either blaming others or choosing to be passive or wait to be rescued or playing the victim for whatever reason. And there can be people in your life who are also frustrating you, who are particularly needy or greedy or sucking your energy at this point. And you may have to put down boundaries. As I said in the forecast, we basically have to figure out whether something is contributing to growth or not. And if it's not, if the answer is not, then there may be breakups or the removal of your energy from a particular person, thing, place at this time. And that doesn't necessarily mean you can never go back again. But in order to respect yourself and care for yourself, it may be necessary that you create some distance of space or time with anybody or anything that is detrimental to you or is not being supportive of you in terms of your overall life plans or desire to improve yourself or to become more. There's definitely a strong push for success and to have more or be more at this time. That moon in Capricorn, that does rule the 10th house of career. It is a Saturn ruled sign as well. So if we look to where Saturn is and what it's doing, it's supporting the Cancer planets of Mercury and Venus and the Sun. So it's good to be working at increase, to have more, to be more. And by becoming the best that you can be, you then also are an example for others to emulate. You may reach a level of being able to teach or guide, mentor. The thing to watch out for is to fall into the trap of enabling or dysfunctional relationships where really nobody's improving and growing because of the unhealthy situation. Saturn is also making a sextile to Uranus in Taurus, and through hard work, you can change things for the better. The persistence and the patience that you have available right now is actually, I consider it also tenacity, that there is tenacity in the chart that enables you to stick with something. And even if other people are saying, oh no, you'll never amount to anything, or you can't do this or that, maybe that Mars Pluto square will literally be a pry bar that gets you unstuck, and you might be utilizing anger or revenge. What's the expression? Success is the best revenge, which is true. That is, if you've ever accomplished something and then somebody who's said you never will sees that, oh, you're driving a brand new car or whatever, particularly somebody who said, oh, you could not live without them or you won't amount to something. It's very satisfying to see the look on that person's face when they realize that you've gone and succeeded without them, or that they were wrong and you were right. So it can feel good right now to prove somebody wrong or to use anger uh, as a motivating tool rather than fear. Any strong emotion is a powerful tool for manifesting. It's said that love and joy are higher vibration and a preferable energy to be in for manifestation, but anger and fear are also powerful manifesting energies. So be careful of your energy state at this full moon, because there's something very formal and driven and concrete about the sign of Capricorn. It is so determined that whatever you set in motion and whatever you decide, you may establish some sort of mindset or habit or condition that could be challenging to undo at a later date. For anybody who is dealing with issues of um, addictions, whether it's to shopping or drinking or drugs or sex or whatever the addiction may be, some of this moon's reality check would give you the strength that you need to basically get that under control. Or maybe you simply become aware that, hey, this habit is costing me X amount of money every month, and I can no longer afford to do this, or I no longer want to have this draining me, draining my energy, draining my bank account, and you put a stop to it. Jupiter Pluto trine, everybody right now wants more of something, and it may be more money, but when we look at what signs are these sitting in, overall, I think we want better conditions in society as a whole, and we might be becoming more vocal about it or more active in participating in groups or public platforms where we are putting in our 2 cents and we're anticipating or expecting to see something better, or we're even demanding it. So a Jupiter and Pluto trine is almost always focused on more money, because Jupiter is the planet of growth and abundance, and Pluto just magnifies, intensifies anything that it interacts with. Pluto here does want growth, change, as it's interacting with Jupiter and Uranus. Uranus and Taurus, yes, like where is the money? I think everybody's becoming aware that there are financial imbalances in society, and that that needs to be addressed in terms of larger organizational and governmental levels to correct those imbalances. On the individual level, some people may get down to the business of either second job, because Gemini can be more than one thing, the juggling of multiple things, side gigs, more than one stream of income, looking for other alternative ways to be making some money, finding ways to use your money to make money, money making money. And the thing to watch out for there is obviously do not go and put in more than you can afford to lose, because there is always an element of risk. And do be careful of, I would say, over eagerness. Do your due diligence in looking at other examples, looking at the history behind, let's say, a program or a person or an organization before you are involved on a financial level with them, so you are not depleted more of your resources or your time. You need some preparation and you need some proof. That's what you need in order to make a good go of it, and be leaning more into that minor grand trine where things can potentially change, improve for the better, and you have more and become more, versus the T-square where you might be giving more away than you're getting. Let's take a look at the Sabian symbol. So we round up to 2 degrees. Capricorn, 2 degrees, 3 rose windows in a Gothic church, one damaged by war. Keynote: the necessary realization by any individual making a violent use of collective power that it will lead to the inevitable destruction of some of the values ensuring group integration. It seems obvious that the interpretation of this symbol should refer to the disruptive consequences of war. The chief who claimed power from his tribe in order to lead or save it must reckon with the consequences of a too impulsive use of this power in terms of violence. The integration he seeks to maintain or enhance may be partially destroyed if, in his ambition, he yearns to be the victorious war leader glorified by his people. A rose window is not absolutely essential to a cathedral, yet it symbolizes that through which the light of the spirit enters into the edifice. Man's soul is said to be threefold. Which part of man's inner trinity of principles tends to be destroyed by the use of violence? Evidently, the principle of love and compassion. This second stage symbol is in contrast to the preceding one because it opposes the power to destroy to the power to build. The capital of group energies is partially squandered in armaments and death. Waste is the opposite of group intention. Everything there is already in here. We live in the energy of polarity, and it seems that whatever mankind does or invents already has its death within it. Whatever is born eventually will fade away, pass, die, and anything that seems very good often has a downside or something negative to it. We've got Saturn and Neptune loosely conjunct, and we've got the energy of Pisces, which I equate with the rose windows, the spiritual perception of things. Saturn's the realist, Neptune's the idealist, and we are caught between the two, but as Saturn moves closer to Neptune, the demand for us to integrate will require coming to an acceptance that something may never be totally ideal or perfect, but might be as good as it gets. And realizing too that we're here in a physical body having to work, and yet life can be viewed from the spiritual perspective, or that simply being there in the 3D level and not acknowledging that 4D level is incomplete. Whenever Saturn and Neptune interact, it's never perfect, but it's usually just what is actually needed. But the lesson of that and the blessing that comes from Neptune might take time, because both of these planets have some association with time and longevity. Neptune is timeless, and Saturn is about our mortality and our longevity and the endurance and the commitment and the work of something. So we've got a Saturn ruled full moon right now that is going to amplify the lesson that we are beginning to face, that it takes the faith, it takes the inspiration, and sometimes even the illusion of something, the imagination, in order to stay here and find meaning in life and do constructive things. When we're young and life is very much less cluttered or complex, and for many of us who still have, youth and health and opportunities, the compassion for those who are somehow less able or who are older, there may not be as much respect or compassion, because life hasn't beat up the young person yet. And it takes sometimes getting those slings and arrows and going through the hard times for us to understand somebody else's pain or challenges or limitations. The experiences of life make us wiser and make us more compassionate. And that's what we're going to be getting a lot of over the next 2 years, approximately 2, 3 years, as Saturn and Neptune interact. A little bit of a taste of that is going on at this full moon, and the bigger picture of Capricorn and Cancer is family dynamic, what we grew up seeing, how we were raised, our foundational beliefs with the Cancer energy. And then we take that out there into the world and we kind of recreate it. And if you've ever worked in a larger organization with many employees, particularly corporate America, it's a family structure in a way, and people play out a lot of their family dynamics. There are people there playing the father or the mother or the siblings. So you see a lot of the same dysfunctions coming out that people grew up with. And within our full moon, who we are and what we think is right or might believe based on how we were raised is going to have an effect upon where we're going and what we hope to achieve. And the T-square is actually a good turning point here, because it's there with Saturn. It's like, hey, maybe that wasn't true. Hey, maybe this isn't a good way to keep thinking and behaving. Maybe it's not going to get me ahead when I'm jealous of a coworker, or when I'm stepping all over people to climb the ladder and get to the top. when I'm gossiping about somebody else. Maybe that's not the best thing. And yesterday's forecast, I talked about the reflective energy and the fact that there's an awareness going on, particularly in the Jupiter and Pluto trine in Gemini and Aquarius, that in many ways we're all the same. I think that the blinders can fall off right now in some area of your life, and you may just have a sense of disorientation as you're looking around saying, huh, wait a minute, that person isn't who I thought they were, or this job isn't what I thought it was, or this relationship is not what I thought it was. And then you have the potential to say, okay, well, where do I go from now? And there will be a need to release and let go of certain things because you can't carry it all with you, as I said in the forecast. The image that I chose very much conveys that there's only so much that's going to fit on that boat, and everybody there has to contribute to getting that boat moving on the river. Only what's absolutely necessary, and then active participation and carrying your part of it as you move forward. So we have individual stuff going on right now, as well as some pretty big collective stuff. And hopefully this full moon in Capricorn will bring some of that Saturn should energy out. Saturn is the planet that shoulds on us. I should do this, I should do that. And if you do feel a greater sense of obligation or responsibility at this full moon, good. You probably need it. It's probably coming in a timely fashion so you can figure out what you want, what you need, and what is required of you to get there. All right, take care, stay safe. We still have some energy that's very much like Mercury retrograde while Mercury is squaring Neptune, and it'll be about another week, and then that fades as Mercury moves out of a square and heads toward a trine with Neptune. But for now, we're still in the if you had a crazy week last week or the last 10 days, it is because of that square between Mercury and Neptune creating the distortion, distractions, weird interruptions, and things just being very strange. It will get better. It'll take about a week, but watch yourself while you're traveling. And if communication has gotten lost, then follow up. Don't sit there waiting. Be proactive. Take care.